Today I'm going to be watching another video about the Finnish military. I've been watching a lot of videos about the Finnish military over the last couple of months, and it's really great to see what they're doing, how strong they've always been, but joining NATO, how much they bring to that, but just how much is changing. The two countries I'm most interested in learning about their militaries and what's been going on over the last couple of years are Finland and Poland. A lot of great things for Europe. The rest of Europe should be very thankful to have these two countries and what they're doing with their militaries as well. So looking forward to seeing this one, learning a little bit more. As always, tell me what you think. Let's check it out.
What if I told you that a country best known for saunas, reindeer, and having more trees than people could outfox some of the world's most powerful militaries? And no.
More trees than people? Is that not most countries got more trees than people? I don't know. Like, I would have thought most countries have, a lot more trees. I don't know.
Oh, this isn't some Nordic fairy tale. This is Finland, the quiet kid in the back of the European classroom who, it turns out, has been lifting military weights behind the scenes. And now, they're ready to make some noise.
Again, like, just in the way it says that, like, the thing is, there's been a lot in the media recently because, after Finland joining NATO, but for me, from what I've learned, Finland's military's always been so strong and so well equipped. A lot of great soldiers, obviously having sort of military service helps with that as well.
Because in the chessboard of global defense, Finland might just be the piece no one saw coming, but everyone should be watching. Finland doesn't brag. It doesn't parade around with flashy aircraft carriers or showboat global interventions. Instead, it takes a different approach, measured, calculated, and frankly, a little terrifying if you're on the wrong side of the border. And that's exactly why Finland's military strategy is a global game changer. While many nations spend billions on overseas projections of power, Finland has quietly built a defense system so effective, so stubbornly resilient, that invading it would be, well, like trying to fight a bear in a snowstorm, blindfolded, on skis. So let's break this down. Why is Finland, a country of just 5.5 million people, punching so far above its military weight? What makes its defense model not only unique, but increasingly relevant to the 21st century battlefield? Let's start with history. To understand this country's modern military mindset, you've got to rewind to 1939, the Winter War. The Soviet Union invades Finland, expecting a quick win. After all, it's the mighty Red Army versus a tiny nation armed with bolt-action rifles and skis, except the Soviets get wrecked. Despite being outnumbered 3-1, the Finns used guerrilla tactics, intimate knowledge of terrain, and yes, a whole lot of sisu, a uniquely Finnish term roughly translating to grit, tenacity, or the refusal to die when you really should have. Finnish soldiers moved silently through forests, ambushed Soviet tanks with Molotov cocktails, and faded back into the trees like Arctic ghosts. The Soviets eventually forced a peace deal, but they paid dearly. Nearly 400,000 casualties in just 105 days. The lesson was simple: never underestimate Finland on home turf. Ever. Fast forward to today, and military doctrine still leans heavily on that wartime experience. But now, it's sharpened by modern tools and strategic foresight. The backbone of country's strategy: total defense. This isn't just a military policy, it's a national mindset. In Finland, defense isn't just the job of the army, it's everyone's business. Under the total defense model, every sector of society, government, businesses, civilians, has a role in national security. Schools teach students basic survival and civic responsibility. Infrastructure is hardened to withstand.
Is that true? Like, so in school you get taught survival skills as well? Tell me if that you received that as well. I know obviously you get your like national service, sort of conscription and so on, but do you actually get taught about it in like primary school and secondary school as well?
Structure is hardened to withstand cyber attacks. Even supermarkets have contingency plans to keep food flowing during conflict. It's like if your neighbor not only knew how to shoot straight, but also had a backup generator, a stash of antibiotics, and a plan to mobilize his book club into a supply chain network.
I mean, when I see things like this, I do wonder like why most countries aren't so prepared. I guess like countries like to give the benefit of the doubt and think they won't be invaded or anything like that. Maybe Finland bordering Russia feel the necessity to do this in case of an invasion, but it feels like everybody should be as prepared at least to have like a plan in place for all of these sort of things. Like I just like Finland's sort of preparedness, or the planning. I think I appreciate more than anything. Like so well planned.
Just in case. This means that if Finland were invaded, the entire country would mobilize, not just the military. Roads become ambush zones. Forests become trap-laden corridors. The guy running your local gas station, he's in the reserves and knows how to disable a bridge in 5 minutes flat. This level of preparedness turns Finland into a porcupine with missile launchers. Not aggressive, but absolutely painful to attack. Another reason Finland's military is uniquely formidable: conscription. Unlike many Western countries that have phased out the draft, Finland leans into it. All able-bodied men serve around 6 to 12 months in the military, with women allowed to volunteer, and many do. But here's the genius. After their service, conscripts are placed in reserve roles. They can call up 280,000 trained reservists in wartime. That's about 5% of the entire population. Proportionally, it's like the US being able to summon over 16 million trained soldiers overnight. And they're not just weekend warriors. These folks train regularly, maintain their gear, and know exactly where to report if things go sideways. This creates a defense force that's large, decentralized, and deeply embedded in society. It's not just a standing army, it's a standing nation. Oh, and one more thing. If you think that's impressive, consider this. They has one of the largest artillery arsenals in Western Europe. Yes, artillery. Finland has over 1,500 pieces of it, ready to rain steel on anyone foolish enough to march through its forests. Apparently, while everyone else was chasing drones and cyber weapons, Finland said, "Cool. Let's also keep the big guns." Now let's talk terrain. The landscape is
Yeah, I guess that's the sort of thing that is important to think about as well. Like you always like see what's going on in Ukraine, and the like increasing usage of drone warfare, like in countries making a big focus, investing in that. But it's also good to have that balance and think that you can't just focus too much on one thing like that, just in case you need the big guns, like he says there.
Keep the big guns. Now let's talk terrain. The landscape is a defensive dream, or a nightmare if you're the one invading. Over 70% of the country is forest, laced with 188,000 lakes and enough boggy terrain to make any armored division rethink its life choices. In winter, temperatures drop to minus 30 degrees Celsius and snow blankets everything. Tanks get stuck, drones freeze, supply lines snap like dry twigs. Meanwhile, the Finnish army pulls out skis, camouflage cloaks, and a thermos of hot coffee. Their strategy? Don't stop the enemy head on. Bleed them slowly, delay, harass, retreat, counterattack. It's not glamorous, but it works. Just ask the ghosts of 1939. Even road network is designed with defense in mind. Highways double as emergency airstrips. Bridges and tunnels can be quickly destroyed to slow down invaders. The whole country is basically one big booby-trapped obstacle course for any hostile force. Now you might think, okay, but Finland's a small country. How high-tech can they be? Answer: deceptively high-tech. Finland focuses on what works. Instead of spending billions on prestige platforms like aircraft carriers or stealth bombers, they invest in smart, asymmetric systems like cutting-edge electronic warfare, cyber defenses, and yes, even drones. But not the fragile quadcopters buzzing over influencer photo shoots. Think surveillance and strike drones built for serious operations. And Finland's signal intelligence capabilities, quietly respected across NATO. They've been listening, decoding, and jamming long before cyber became trendy. Their F-35 acquisition? Strategic. not just to project air power, but to seamlessly integrate with NATO's network defense grid. They're not trying to outshine anyone. They're trying to disappear into the system, then strike when least expected. Which, let's be honest, is so very Finnish. Here's where it gets geopolitical. For decades, Finland stayed out of NATO, neutral but not naive. They cooperated, trained with NATO forces, shared intelligence, but stayed officially non-aligned. Then Russia invaded Ukraine, and Finland took one look at the bear next door and said, nope. Within weeks, public support for NATO skyrocketed. Fast forward to 2023, and Finland is now a full NATO member. This changes everything. Finland brings to NATO not just another flag in the lineup, but a hardened, mobilized, ready-to-roll military force on Russia's doorstep, with over 800 miles of shared border. That's a massive strategic shift. Russia now has to account for a NATO ally whose army is built for one thing: surviving and grinding down an invasion from the east. Oh, and Finland's neighbors? Sweden followed suit. Suddenly, the Baltic Sea is looking a lot less cozy for the Kremlin. So here's the irony. Finland isn't trying to be a military superpower. It's not looking to start fights or stage global interventions. It just wants to be left alone in peace. But to ensure that, it has become one of the hardest countries in the world to invade. Not because it has the biggest army, but because it has the strongest will. A nation built for endurance, a people raised on resilience, a military designed to win by not losing. So the next time you see a quiet little country with too many trees and way too much snow, don't assume it's just background scenery in the global drama, because that quiet little country might just be the plot twist. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, very good. Again, it's like, I've watched so many videos about the Finnish military, and it's always impressive, learning different things every time. And yeah, when you compare it to other countries who maybe spend more on their military, but they go into like other countries and spend a lot more money on that, it seems like Finland's plan is just very sensible in all respects, being prepared, investing money in the correct things to allow the best chance to defend. Not spending money on the overly expensive things that don't help the defence, that are more about being proactive rather than defensive. So yeah, very intelligent, just the same as all the other parts of Finland as a country, whether it's the economy and that sort of thing. Everything just is all seemingly just very sensible decision making. So yeah, tell me what you think about this one. Thanks.